EGM Network.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show, an online community where we put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, then connect them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do, and when we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and support local businesses, it strengthens our local economy. For details on the show, links to discounts, promos, past interviews, check out www.tcconnector.com. Now, shopping for a home is fun and exciting, and when you secure the right mortgage, it is icing on the cake. Now, finding a mortgage broker who has extensive knowledge that can help you isn't always easy, but there's a person here in the studio that is going to help you get the right mortgage for you. Dawn Schweiker is a loan officer with Guild Mortgage, and she's here to talk about what's happening in our Treasure Coast real estate industry and share some really good information. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ellen. I'm pleased to be here.
Yes, and I'm happy to have you here. And before we dive in and we talk about what's happening with real estate in the area and all that you do for people, what made you want to become a loan officer and even work in the real estate industry?
Well, I've been in the mortgage industry now for 28 years.
Oh, you started when you were 10.
Yeah, just a year or two older than that. Started in accounting, and you know what? It just wasn't for me, so I decided to go into banking, and then that's where I knew that was my calling, that helping people buy houses and realize their home ownership, it was just something that I absolutely loved. I used to work for a direct lender. Then as I came here to Florida, I went into the mortgage broker side, and now I'm back with a direct lender. So Guild Mortgage is a direct lender. We sell, we keep our own mortgages. We retain our mortgages, but we also have the ability to, whatever we don't do in-house, to broker it out to other lenders. So we have over 600 mortgage programs because of that.
Oh, very good. So you're not captive to just one small subset. Okay, nope. I like that. And yes, and I even mentioned that you're an expert, like what I didn't mention, what I have written down, loan options and number crunching.
Yes.
That is what you're known for.
That is. That's my favorite thing to do. To me, it's like a puzzle, finding a way to make it work.
Yes, and I like that. Even before we started, the show, we were just chatting while Cindy was, setting up all the tech that Cindy does. Thank you very much, Cindy, by the way. That's something that you love to figure out, like where someone is and then kind of reverse engineer, when you're number crunching. So I really liked that approach that you take with people. So now we're only a few weeks away from closing out 2024.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's here already.
Honestly, seriously, I'm just thinking it feels like just yesterday we were in July.
Yes.
Okay. What is your perspective on what's happening in the real estate market, Treasure Coast, and even beyond for Florida?
Well, I think Florida is a very stable market. We still have a lot of people that are moving into the state of Florida. So we are still seeing high amounts of appreciation. Maybe not to the levels it was over the last couple of years, but we are still seeing a lot of influx of people, and they're coming in and they're buying. We have a lot of new construction in certain areas, as well as resales. So we help the buyer determine where's the best place to go. And for being a beach town, this Indian River County being beach towns, we are still very reasonably priced based on other markets.
Wait, I'm sorry, Cindy, don't you agree? Yeah, you know what? I know people are going to be moving in. They're already finding out. I'm only kidding. But you are right that this is a quaint area, and we actually are reasonably priced.
Yeah, I absolutely love being here in Vero Beach and in Indian River County. Yeah. It is definitely home for me. And I find a lot of people are finding it the same. And I think that 2025 is going to be an amazing year. Even over on October, we've seen an increase in applications of 4%, and November even higher because of the interest rates. Interest rates have come down. So people that were waiting on the fence are coming back off the fence. You know what? I can afford that now.
Yeah.
We don't have the 7-8% interest rates that we had over the last 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
It's now come down into the sixes, even down into the fives.
Oh, nice.
So this is making homes more affordable even. So a lot of people are starting to come out and purchase.
Yeah, I loved seeing in Vero News, home purchase contracts up 4.7% in November compared to a year ago.
Yeah,
so
that's absolutely correct.
That is very exciting. And again, Florida, people want to vacation here. They want to retire here. So we're always going to have a robust market, I think, even especially when it comes to investments, too. I'm sure you help people that maybe want to stay up north, but they want to buy investment home properties here, live here for a little bit, and then rent it out.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's a very good idea.
Second homes and investment properties.
Yes, I love that.
I do a lot of that type of financing and very creative ways, too. I was able to help a gentleman. He had 3 investment properties here in Florida.
Okay.
And he wanted to sell those homes to buy $1 million house in Bent Pine.
Okay.
So he put the houses on the market. Now, the seller was not taking contingent offers. So we did bridge loans on all 3 of those properties to pull the equity out for him to use as the down payment on the new house. And then he ended up, between the new mortgage on that house and the funds from the equity, he ended up walking away with a check for $75,000.
Wow.
So there's ways that we can help.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very nice thing. Okay, so now we are also, like I said, at the end of the year, so people are preparing for goals. What do they want their 2025 to look like? So for people that are thinking about, gosh, I want to buy a home, maybe they're a first-time home buyer and they're not quite sure. What advice do you have for somebody who's a little bit apprehensive and thinking, I don't know if I can do this?
My suggestion is to
people
call.
How.
Exactly. Call me and let's talk about it. I could sit down with you. We can put the numbers down on paper. We can discuss your short-term goals as well as your long-term goals, figure out what options based on your financial picture, and we can go from there. And it's not like all of a sudden we're pulling your credit. We could do something, because that was a big concern that everybody has. Oh my goodness, you're going to pull my credit and it's going to tank my credit scores. We have something that we call a soft pull.
Okay.
So what we do in that case is that we just do a soft inquiry into their credit report. It does not affect their scores. And then I can give them a roadmap as to how to accomplish the goals short term and long term.
Yeah. And I'm sure that there are sometimes people that think, I don't know if I can even do this. And then you're actually showing them, well, this is what you're paying in rent, and this is this, and that's that. And if you do this, this, and this, then you'll be able to, buy a home. So I'm sure you've had a lot of people with that light bulb moment of, I can do this.
Yes. Not only that, I have a lot of clients that says, well, my credit isn't the best. Okay, well, let's take a look at it and then let's get it fixed. I work with credit restoration companies that can work on getting things removed, corrected, help increase credit scores. So we say, okay, if we've got 6 months till the end of your lease, let's get started now and let's do this, this, and this by these dates, and you will accomplish the goal that you're planning on. So that's the roadmap that I help build for the clients that I speak to.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And now, another thing that we have here is, especially with the gig economy, more than ever, do we have a lot of self-employed people.
We do.
And sometimes, especially, like I've talked to a lot of people that are in their late 40s to mid 50s, and they were tired of the corporate world. And they have all of these skills. And then before they know it, they're like, wow, they have a really good business going for themselves, maybe even able to hire some people and such. But then maybe a couple of years in, they're thinking, I've been in this home for a while and now I want a different home, or I want to downsize. And they're so used to being that W-2 employee. And they're like, whoa. How do I even navigate now as a self-employed person? I don't even know what that looks like to get a loan. But you say that that's also not necessarily a problem.
That's right. I mean, typically on regular, standard, conventional, FHA, those types of loans, you need to go by pay stubs, tax returns. If you're self-employed, we take a 2-year average on your tax returns, or even sometimes just a 1-year average. But we take on a self-employed, we take the net income after your write-offs. And as you know, as a self-employed self-employed person, you're going to write off as much as you can, right? Well, we do have specialized loan programs for buyers like that, to where we don't look at the tax returns. We'll go by something else. We'll go by averages on bank statements. We'll go by just the 1099s themselves. Or in some cases, we don't use any income at all. So it all depends on the cash availability of the buyer, how much money do they have to work with, and then we can structure the programs from there. And a lot of people that think, well, you know what, I'm not even going to call because I'm not going to qualify. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying call, because at least you'll validate, like, well, I shouldn't say validate, like if you can't, like, let's say you can't do a loan at the moment, then you're going to set up a roadmap for what they can do in a certain time frame. So yes, you might not be able to buy a home now, but it doesn't mean in 6 months from now that they can't be in that position.
Exactly.
So here's what's going on right now, because Cindy just told me that there's 3,800 people watching, and some of them are desperate for your phone number.
Absolutely.
Okay? So before we go to commercial break, why don't you give everyone how to get in touch with you?
I have 2 numbers. My direct number is 772-226-0881. My cell phone, which I use all the time, is 609-560-2052. Those are the best numbers to reach me. And don't hold it against me. I'm from Jersey.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. But nobody knows that you're from Jersey.
They will if they see the 609 phone number.
But not from the sound of your voice, just like me. They don't know I'm from Long Island. I'm keeping that a closely guarded secret. Gosh darn it, but this is on the radio now.
That's it now. Now it's out there.
The secret is out. Okay, but we have a lot more to discuss. Dawn Schweiker of Guild Mortgage and I. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Happy holidays. Let Evergreen Media get your business on everybody's shopping list. Hire Evergreen Media to place advertising on streaming TV, radio, even social media. Contact Evergreen Media at egreenmedia.com.
Right now at Sunshine Furniture, it's holiday sale time. You can save up to 50% on selected groups of indoor and outdoor furniture from Lloyd Flanders, Telescope, Windward, Capri, Seawinds, Universal, Lexington, and lots more. Sofas, love seats, dining sets, patio groups, occasional chairs, dining and bedroom sets, all on sale just in time to make Santa say ho, ho, ho. We have the largest selection of coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast, including a gallery of Berlin Garden, Pollywood, Hooker, Tommy Bahama, and Lexington. Also, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half off. And don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store just across the street from our main location with lots of new closeout and markdown pieces. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com. Come in now for our holiday half-price sale.
Sunshine Furniture.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I've been chatting with Dawn Schweiker. She's a loan officer with Guild Mortgage here in Vero Beach, and we're just going to dive right back into this conversation. We were talking about the different types of people, like new home buyers. They say to themselves, oh my goodness, this is a little scary. So we talked about how you help with that. And then, of course, all the self-employed people, so that's really wonderful. But now what I'd like for you to just, share with everyone is like how you work with people, the different loan programs and, what people can expect when they call you for the first time.
That's great. Thank you. When they call me, when you call me, I go over all of your personal information. We go over your assets, your income, what your liabilities are, and then we determine. My biggest thing is I want to make sure that you're going into your comfort level, and I think there's a lot of misconception, I guess.
Oh yeah.
About 350 price range is only going to cost me $1,200 a month. So we go over all that. We go over, okay, if this is what price range you're in, this is what the average payments are, and based on your down payment questions, things like that. So we determine what your comfort level is, because really that's what's most important.
Oh, yeah.
How much do you want to spend a month? And then I can reverse engineer that into what that sale price would be, what that down payment looks like. We have down payment assistance programs. So you don't have to put 20% down anymore to buy a house. You can do as little as 3% down. Actually, we even have loan programs here in Indian River County that is 0 down.
Oh, wow.
And you don't have to be a veteran.
Oh,
it is a
okay.
0 down loan, and it's not a veteran's loan. So we have those in certain areas in Indian River County. Or we have, if you're a first-time homebuyer, you can do 3% down or 3.5% down. And then we have grant programs that can give you the money if you don't have it for down payment. And let's say there's other factors such as closing costs. You're going to have title insurance, things like that. We ask the seller to help contribute. And with the market, being a little softer here, more being a buyer's market, because we are actually in a buyer's market now.
Okay, very good.
With being a buyer's market, the buyers are getting the sellers, or sellers are agreeing to give money to the buyers to either buy their interest rates down to a more affordable payment, or to help cover the closing costs, so that literally you can get in with no money down.
Yeah.
Use other people's money.
OPM.
OPM.
That's really good. No, I think that's wonderful. And, again, that's what I like hearing from you, because you are here, you live and work in this community. It's a small town. So you want to make sure that you're doing right by people, because you want to go to Publix and not look over your shoulder, okay?
Yeah.
When people are a little upset with you, because there are some people that don't care necessarily in all different areas of sales, not just, in your industry. And they're just caring about that loan for their commission. But yet, you like to make sure that the person is going to buy a home and feel good every month when they're making that mortgage, and not saying, well, we have to have ramen again this month because we bought too much house.
Exactly. And that's something that I experienced when I bought my first home, is that we did go out a little bit out of our comfort level. And I was very young. I was not even 21 yet when we bought our first place. And I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks because I was so stressed and we couldn't figure out what was wrong. I do not want my buyers to go through that. Yeah. So I have made it my goal to go through everything before they get to closing, so they know exactly what to expect, and that they're not having that anxiety.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. And so now another thing, though, is that I do like the approach of going for a mortgage first. And I've said this before on other shows. I've had, different realtors on and such. And when my husband and I were ready to buy a home, before I talked to Tina from my knitting circle, that's how I chose my realtor, because I got to know her that way. But all kidding aside, I wasn't going to just go looking for houses until I actually went through the underwriting process first. That's what I did.
I highly recommend that, especially because guidelines change all the time. And even doing this 28 years, there is the way we calculate income now is different than the way we calculated income 5 years ago. So it's wise to go through and have the loan blessed by an underwriter to know that this is the income we're going to be using to qualify, that you're not going to get 2 weeks to closing and find out you can't get the mortgage. That is the worst feeling in the world, not just for the buy, but for me, or not for me, but any loan officer, everybody, the buyers, the sellers, the agents. That's not what we want to go through. We want our buyers to have an amazing experience. So we ask for all those documentation up front so that we can verify the information before we put an offer out on another property.
And then you can give them that letter that says, you
You're
are
good as gold.
qualified for X, whether that X figure is 300, 500, whatever that figure is. And I'm sure that the realtors in the area, when they see a letter that even has Guild Mortgage on the top,
Yes.
and they're like, oh,
We know this.
Dawn, this is good. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure that the real estate agents really like you too.
Yes. I've gained a lot of great friendships.
Yeah.
In the real estate agents that I've worked with here, and it's not just Indian River County. I am all over Florida. I have a lot of real estate agents I work with in Brevard County, in Palm Beach County, in Brevard County. Yeah, I mean Broward County.
Yeah.
Port St. Lucie. So I do enjoy working with a lot of real estate agents and helping them.
I was just going to joke and say, let's tell the New Yorkers, and I'm talking the metro where you and I are from, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, tell them to go to Fort Lauderdale first. You're going to love it there. That's where I moved when I first came to Florida, and I loved it.
Did you?
Loved it there. But then I came up here because I had to look after my mom, and I'm very happy up here now, too. So now that we're in the second half, I want you to repeat your contact information and even where your office is located. You have a nice location.
Yes. My contact information is, my phone numbers are 772-226-0881 and 609-560-2052. My email address is dschweiker, SCHWEIKER, at guildmortgage.net. I am located right on the 17th Street Plaza, right before going over the bridge to the island.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So if you go over the 17th Street Bridge, you've
missed me.
Yeah. But it is a very nice location. So that's 333 17th Street.
That's correct.
And then is it K21, I believe it is? Suite
Yes,
K21.
I'm in Suite K, which is Office Vero, and I'm on the second floor.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that is a really great location. And so now we have, a couple of minutes left. We have 3 minutes. Look at that.
That's great.
So before we do wrap up, what are some of the things that you wanted to share?
What I wanted to share, most importantly, is the way to build wealth is through buying homes, buying real estate, whether it's your primary residence, a second home, or investment property. But think of this as a renter. If you pay $2,000 a month in rent, over the course of 4 years, do you realize you've paid $96,000? If you've invested, if you had a mortgage, that's, let's just say, a little bit even more than $22,000. Some of that mortgage payment is going toward the equity in your home. But not just that. Think of your home as an investment, like a savings account. Every year, that savings account goes up a little bit. Maybe there's some years where maybe it won't go up as much or very little, but it's still appreciating.
Yeah.
And that's money that you can tap into later down the line, whether it's for college, for weddings, for vacation, for home improvements, things like that. Whereas if you were renting, you would not have that to tap into. You're just making your landlord wealthy.
Yeah. And then you had a phrase, it was date the...
It's marry the house, date the rate, and divorce the landlord.
Okay, very good. Very good. Yeah, because a lot of times people, and I even said this before, they'll have, let's say, a $2,000, rent. And what they don't realize is that when they give that to the landlord is satisfying the mortgage, the homeowner's insurance, the taxes, and then there's a little bit left over, of course, profit. But if you can do that, chances are you can actually get yourself into your own home with your own mortgage.
Exactly.
And that's what I really want to leave people with, is to call you to explore that option and not beat up the microphone. Yes.
The other thing to think of, too, is let's just say, for instance, you're not going to get your dream home to get started with. But my husband and I, we've been on our 7th house that we've owned. We buy a house, we live there for an average of 5 to 7 years, we sell, and we take that equity and we move on.
Very nice.
So that's how you build wealth, and that's how you get the dream home that you've always wanted.
I love that. So with that said, thank you so very much. We're at the end of the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed this time with you.
And it's a lot of fun, very informative, and very inspirational. I want everybody to call you to get a mortgage for a home or a rental income property, income generating asset. And with that said, my name is Ellen Contreras. I'm the host of Treasure Coast Connector. And until next week, I hope that everyone has a safe, productive, wonderful week. And I miss you already.